there, and good morning. Welcome to Breakfast with Bridgett. I'm your host, Bridgett Ellison. It's 7:30 on the dot on this Wednesday, May 29th. 30th is tomorrow, but yeah, it's good to be with you, and we hope that you are off to a good start this morning. We're going to get a check of your weather and traffic. Also, this morning, we have a live interview about some great things happening at our local Boys and Girls Club, and a great way that they're reaching out to youth and also acknowledging mental health issues with our youth. So we'll talk about that and some of the efforts happening there very soon. But first, we want to get over to the Pinpoint Weather Center. And meteorologist Candace Campos is standing by there. And we picked up some good rain yesterday, Candace. And you're saying the chances are going down again today.
Right. Yesterday, highs were in the low 90s, mid to the low 90s, which, it's still slightly above average, but we had that rain to help cool us down for just a bit. I was able to time out my nap just in time for the
Yes.
storms rolling in.
Wasn't that nice?
So nice. All of a sudden it got dark. I was like, well, I guess it's time for nap for
Nappy
me.
poo. Yep.
It's nappy poo
Don't mind if
time.
I do.
Yeah, I know. But you know what? Today it's going to be bright blue skies, no rain in the forecast today. I'm of course holding it at a 10% because we still have a little bit of moisture in place, but it's going to be a dry, very hot day. I just sent out our Pinpoint Weather app notification and I wrote wickedly warm Wednesday. I'm trying to run out of words to describe
It
this
is
hot.
wicked, though.
It's wicked.
It's wicked.
So let's get to the map and show you what we're talking about here. We're going to be staying hot Wednesday and Thursday. I put a spotty storm here and there. That is if you're lucky. As we head into your weekend, come Friday and into Saturday and Sunday, we're going to start seeing a little more moisture kind of seeping back into the forecast. Brings rain chances back to about 30 to 40%. Not a washout by any means. And just back to more of a summer-like setup where temperatures closer to near 90, which is where we should be for this time of the year. And also this weekend, on Saturday is the official start of hurricane season on June 1st. As of now, we are tracking a few tropical waves out there. So let me show you real quick what's going on out in the tropics. Now, we are watching, again, 3 tropical waves. They're out there. Our atmosphere is conducive for tropical activity already. We have ocean temperatures that have been feeling more like August for this past several months. So there's no surprise that we do have a trio of tropical waves out there. Now, the good news is even with tropical moisture out there, it's not developing into anything. So the National Hurricane Center not expecting much in the way of development within the next 2 to 7 days. Closer to home, though, drier air continues to filter in across central Florida. We had a cold front that came through yesterday, bringing us all that rain yesterday. But in the meantime, all that dry air will continue to kind of cap our rain chances again at only about 10 to 20% for the next 2 days. So I did put the wind barbs here for you to be able to see where the sea breeze is, because usually you could track it with the clouds and the rain, but you can't. So you can see it right there, kind of zippers right there, Bridgett, right along kind of like just east of I-4. That's that collision of the sea breeze. Normally there should be rain. You can see it all pushes back out towards the west. We're really not anticipating much in the way of rain, even with the collision of our sea breezes. So in the meantime, with no rain, no cloud cover, it's going to be just a hot day. Temperatures up to 97 degrees today. We will get close to records primarily in Sanford and Leesburg. Our records are just a little lower than other spots. So our records for both Leesburg and Sanford are at 98. We're forecasting a high of 97. And then you can see come Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I wouldn't call it a washout, but certainly a little more rain back into the forecast. We do have that burn ban in place now for Seminole County as we are dealing with very hot, very dry weather. We just need those daily sea breeze storms to come through daily.
Yeah.
That's what we need for us to really kick into our rainy season. And we're hoping that we could start seeing more signs of that to come as we head into your weekend.
Yeah, and it's just we need the rain. We don't need all that
Right?
lightning and all that drama, right? But
Yeah, if we
we're
can
definitely needing
get
more rain.
if we can get all that rain in the evening or overnight with just, that nice pitter patter that just kind of helps create that sound machine action for us, that would
Yes.
be ideal. In a perfect world, that'd be fantastic.
hmm
But
And
the
all
best
the
way we
errands done and in the house before it hits.
exactly, where it's really not bothering anybody, but it's perfectly, perfect conditions for grass to soak it in. But we're
Yeah.
going to deal with we got to get those afternoon thunderstorms in the forecast. As long as, we play it safe, keep our eyes to the sky, listen to the rules when it comes to lightning. If you hear the rumble of the thunder, it's time to go inside. And then you have to wait. This is the hard part. 30 minutes from the last
Mm-hmm.
thunder that you hear for you guys to go back
Yeah.
out. So, just having to remember those rules and,
Yep.
the kids are
Our
really good at that.
campers, the camp pickups, all of that is the
All of
same,
that stuff.
just like when
Yeah,
school was in. So yeah, we gotta play it safe. Hear it, fear it, see it, flee it. Right.
exactly. That's what Tom always says.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thanks, Candace.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we want to check on traffic, and Trooper Steve is, oh, well, he's in results one there, looking a little bit like Minecraft right now, the digital look there. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I could hear you perfectly. You're frozen to me, but I look frozen to you.
You look
I don't
digitized a
know.
little bit. You
Hear you.
sound a little, yeah. Maybe it's where you're sitting.
Uh, I
Hmm.
know.
What do you,
We're gonna bail out on this.
okay, try us back.
We'll have another day. Bye,
Oh,
guys.
bye. Sorry there. Technology, you got to love it. All right, we want to talk about, unfortunately, it's a sad story out of Sugar Mill Elementary School in Port Orange. As we've been reporting, a 10-year-old student was lost. She was riding her bike on the way to school, and she ended up hit, and this is something that parents are very upset about. Of course, she was a fourth grader, and this has just really rocked the whole school here at the end of the school year. Parents are demanding that the leadership get involved with looking for ways to improve safety so nothing like this happens again. Mark Lehman has more.
What is going to be your plan of action going forward?
Parents were demanding changes during Tuesday's school board meeting and pushing for an increase in traffic safety.
I have personally made it my mission to help prevail in making the necessary changes it's going to take to keep our children safe.
A petition was created after 10-year-old Shaolin Kamali was killed Friday outside Sugar Mill Elementary. Police say she was hit by a car while riding her bike in a crosswalk. Last night, Volusia County Superintendent promised to explore safety changes, but said the investigation must first be allowed to happen.
And I wish we could do that much earlier, but again, we all know this, that when an investigation is under its way, you cannot get involved at that point in time.
Meanwhile, the sheriff says drivers need to follow the rules, but also admits a new plan is needed to hold them accountable.
I'm 19 school crossing guards short now. Like everybody else, you can't hire. So now I think we have to sit down with the PTAs, with the school administration, with the cities, and come up with a plan.
And we'll keep you posted on the plans they come up with, and hopefully something that can give more comfort to the community and the school campus there. So we'll keep you updated on what's happening in Port Orange. We want to go to our special guest this morning. We are talking about some great initiatives that are happening at our local Boys and Girls Club. And with us today, we have a familiar face. We have Dr. L. Trenton Marsh with us, Assistant Professor of Urban Education at the University of Central Florida. It's good to see you again.
Great to be seen. Thank you for having me this morning.
I'm really excited and happy to share what the Boys and Girls Club is doing. And our anchor, Lisa Bell, she is a proud Boys and Girls Club kid, and now she's involved here locally as well. And there's so much outreach and different initiatives that the Boys and Girls Club is able to do. And you recently had something over the weekend on Friday to reach out to youth.
Correct. So this was the third annual Day of Hope. Hope standing for Healing Oasis for Peace and Empowerment. So this is our third annual. We had a wonderful opportunity to bring young people and partners together to think about mental health. Specifically, this is a youth-led initiative. So young people themselves in Hope Circle, when we gather at the top of the year, we're asking, well, what do you want to focus in on? What is something concerning to you and your communities? And the young people, without a resounding hesitation, thinking about the increase of suicidality concerning Black and Latinx young men, and also really the adverse childhood. So ACEs, adverse childhood experiences. This is disproportionately on the backs of Blacks and Latino children. Those two things combined, they said, hey, let's focus on mental health. And so this was, again, I always like to say youth led, not Dr.
Mm.
Marsh, not UCF, not even the Boys and Girls Club, the specific young people in that room saying Dr. Marsh, or what they call me Dr. T. Dr. T, we want to focus in on mental health.
You cover urban education, and from that, sociological standpoint, what do you see happening now with our youth and this turning tide of breaking stigmas and people being more aware of emotional intelligence and just the different aspects of trying to reach a whole person in terms of outreach?
Sure. Yeah, and I think part of it, specifically when it comes to young people, is that they need to have relationships. They need to see adults that they can trust, adults that they also see or are seen as vulnerable. So for myself and the folks that we work with at Hope Circle, this is a safe space where we allow young people to be the true authentic selves, their hesitations, their reservations. We bring it all in because at the end of the day, we want to destigmatize certain things like bringing a gun to school because you're upset. We want to
Mm-hmm.
destigmatize things like what does it mean to be a bully, and then advocate for someone that you've seen being bullied, as opposed
Mm-hmm.
to jumping a part of that conversation and making fun of those folks.
Mm-hmm.
So at first, we believe starts with the adults in the space,
Yeah.
and so we really make a gallant effort to be our authentic selves, share our narratives, share our stories. Why are we in this position? I think you articulated it, one of your colleagues who was in the Boys and Girls Club.
Mm-hmm.
So I articulate my narrative,
Mm-hmm.
my vulnerabilities when I was in middle school. I think that building that relationship with those young people allows them the authentic selves, I should say, to see them as authentic selves and then advocate for other people.
And so, how are you able to reach the students and the youth to get them there to take advantage of programs like this that are going on? Because unfortunately, many fall into bad communication cycles and bad relationships or friend groups that may not be of the best influence. How do you get them
Sure.
out of that, or how do you prevent that cycle?
Well, I mean, part of it is modeling. I mean, what I say by modeling, so we talk about coping. How do you cope in the moment? We always talk about what do you do in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Every moment is going to present two circumstances: an opportunity or offense. So you can see in that counter, there's an opportunity here, like an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to develop, an opportunity to ask questions, or you could be offended. And when you're offended, people pick up guns, people get their fists ready. So we're talking about an opportunity when we have these encounters, seeing it as an opportunity, seeing it as a place for you to develop a place to growth, and we model that.
Mm-hmm.
We walk through circumstances and scenarios before the opportunity, or I should say, before an encounter presents itself at school.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you a small example. A young man approached me last Thursday before the event, or Wednesday before the event. He says, Dr. T, I might not be there on Friday. I said, why? What's going on? He says, I might get suspended.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you might get suspended. And I pulled him to the side. I said, what are we talking about here? Are you planning something? And he says, yeah, I've been getting bullied all year.
Yeah.
And this young man approached me and I said, okay, let's do it on Friday. And so in that moment, we had a conversation like, no, this should not be the way.
Right.
Fighting won't do it for you. And so again, I sort of unpeeled some of the strategies that we talked about over the course of that semester, talking about adults, talking about what do you do, talking about how do you walk away, how to de-escalate the situation. And so
because this starts young, as a mom, I can say it starts young, and it starts in preschool, and it starts with this boys will be boys attitude, or, there's maybe certain dynamics at home, and then it's played out again in the classrooms. And then, so how do you coach students through dealing with difficult situations where there may be patterns of bullying or abuse happening that they feel like they can't get out from under?
I think part of it is to slow down. I mean, our brains are all about fight, flight, and freeze. So if we slow down, and I mean, even my own therapist, slow down, let's process what's taking place. In the context of this young man, okay, slow down. We're not going to plan any hurt, harm on that individual because it's ultimately going to impact you, right? It's going to unravel everything we're talking about at Hope Circle, which is about unity, which is about brotherhood, which is about compassion for self and others. Because when I see this opportunity, when I see young people engaging in, say, in bullying, there's oftentimes a deficit. There's oftentimes some insecurities, some lack of self-confidence that they're also impacted or facing. And when I kind of share that and present that flashlight to their peers, again,
Yeah.
young men that I'm working with are middle school students. So when I share that, it just gives them a pause to consider, okay, this person might be going through something similarly, but I'm handling it differently than they are.
Yeah.
I think that the ability to sort of pause in the moment, slow down in the moment, so you can settle. Okay, what did I learn in Hope Circle? Okay,
Right.
let me walk away. Okay, do I have a trusted adult that I can talk to? Okay, let me hit pause on this and let me ask my brothers in Hope Circle on Monday, what could I do in this situation? Give me some tools, give me some strategies.
Because they got to go back. They got to go back. They get through one day, but then it's like, you got to go through several more school years with the same people and those same dynamics. So how do you break out of that so that it doesn't build up and then you can nip it in the bud?
And to be honest, Bridgett, the adults are so important in school. So I work in a lot of after school contexts, but our babies are in school a majority of the day. And so it's the building that relationship. I've recently been having a conversation with adults. Like, well, what do you want to do with Hope Circle? Well, Hope Circle, we need to train adults. This is not training young people, because the dynamics in the curriculum of Hope Circle is youth-led. So we can change the curriculum on a whim based upon what the young people want to engage upon. However, with adults, there is a way to engage in people that allows them to see you as an adult that's also a friend, also like a big brother, an uncle,
an ally,
an auntie, an ally, an advocate. And I think that relationship first starts with present, consistency, and then building that trust.
And so that leads me to, how can we get involved in the community in terms of supporting Boys and Girls Club, and how can we help get more youth into programs like this? What would you like to invite people to do to get involved?
Sure. Well, for this particular annual event, and it seems as if this is going to happen continuously, is that we're reaching out to outside resources. So the young people said, hey, Dr. T, there's really 3 strands of mental health that we want to focus in on. We want to think about first finding the local resources that are allowing us to see ourselves differently, become advocates for ourselves. So finding those resources. Number 2, thinking about how we can thrive and cope in these sort of really tough circumstances. And then the third one was really around thinking about policies. And so we're going to be tackling some things on the policy side, thinking about school recommendations and alliances in the context of schools. How can adults be in partnership with babies? The first one for resources, we had over nearly 24 local resources that were tied to mental health awareness, suicide prevention. We have folks focusing on human trafficking. So I think giving young people an opportunity to see the slew of opportunities and the slew of resources in Central Florida where they can tap into. Because, for example, when a bullying moment happens, and I can only have so much things to say, and my team can only have so much things to say, but there are foundations and community organizations that for 24 hours a day, they're essentially focused on bullying or focusing on human trafficking, or essentially focusing on thinking about food deserts and how young people can be involved in policy recommendations and implications.
So what would you like to see? What would you like to see happen? Do you want some of these groups to step forward and offer opportunities to volunteer, or you want them to come in and speak? What would you like to happen?
So all of the above. So I think we're seeing that young people want different options, different access to different things. We had the chief of police, Eric Smith, has come out every year, and he's always said this. Listen to the young people, and if they tell you something that's discerning or disconcerting, tell somebody, but allow them to be an ally for themselves, because that's the sustainability.
Yeah.
And so bringing organizations in to help our young people be empowered, because again, it's not about giving them voice. We all have it, but they need a seat at the table.
Yeah.
And so some organizations can allow them to have that seat.
Right. And also get out into the community and see all the things that are happening and all the possibilities as well. And it expands their vantage point sometimes, because sometimes the view is limited too. So.
And that's a good point. I think part of both the young person, getting them out there, their vantage point, but also the adults. We have to see our spaces as asset driven. We have to see these young people as assets, full of energy, full of possibilities, full of destinies. And I think sometimes we have to check ourselves, adults. We have to check ourselves and how we think about young people before we get into that space. And I think part of that is spending time with young people over time to say, okay, yes, just as much as I can pour into them, they can pour into me.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Yeah, it's amazing how when you as teachers, many parents, teachers will say, "Oh, I'm teaching them. They're also teaching me. We're learning together on a journey." So, how can we get more information and get involved and sign up to stay in touch?
Sure. Right now, the best way is to email me personally, but I know that'll be a lot of emails. But I think from the
Well,
Central Universe,
go for it.
okay, well, sure. It's l.trentonmarsh@ucf.edu. But then even at the Central Florida location, so again, this is the Boys and Girls Club of Central Florida. I so happen to represent or align with the Levy Hughes Clubhouse in downtown Paramore, the historic downtown Paramore. But there are a lot of clubhouses all around Central Florida that could use adults, like-minded adults who see babies as advocates, who see babies as the next generation. But I would just say, reach out to your local Boys and Girls Club and see where the needs are. They have all sorts of needs, both during after-school hours and then even before after-school hours.
And so you can lend a hand as an individual or even as a business or through your expertise. Correct. Yes. All right. Well,
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, it's great to talk with you again, Dr. Marsh, and thank you for shedding some light on these great programs, and hope to hear from you again soon. Take care.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye. So always great to hear about those things that are happening and the good news happening. And Kathleen, do we have time for? We have this very interesting schemes and ripoffs report that actually involves some of our coworkers and our boss. Mike Holfeld has more.
So she had no idea this was going on.
No idea.
That's Samara Kokinas, News 6 weekend evening meteorologist.
A high near 91 tomorrow with a few scattered showers.
Her forecast, always accurate, but she never could have predicted this.
And it said, "Hi, Samara, let me know if you get this text. Allison McGinley."
It was from Allison McGinley, our own News 6 news director, so she acknowledged the text.
They responded with, "Great. We will be compensating some of our staff for good work."
She was told not to mention it to anyone, and then
The response was, actually, it kind of blew me away, honestly, because they said, "Can you confirm if you can get Visa cards at a nearby store?"
that's when she realized the text from the 208 area code was a little off, so she went to Allison's office.
And I said, "Yeah, you just text me from this number. It's a 208 number. Is this some new corporate phone that you have to use or something?" She's like, "That is not me."
That text reached roughly 20 people in the newsroom. The end game would be our money. Anytime a request for money or gift cards comes into play, it's a scheme. Samara didn't fall for it. None of us did.
And you know what this Allison didn't know, the fake Allison didn't know, is that I know Mike Holfeld and I know better.
Mike Holfeld getting results, News 6.
The funny thing is, our boss actually did give out gift cards one time as sort of an incentive for some different initiatives we had in the newsroom, and she ran into a problem with buying as many gift cards as she wanted to at one of the grocery stores because they limit the dollar amount depending on the situation to help prevent fraud. So many things to watch out for out there. So we have a story about flex lanes. You should check that out on clickorlando.com. We don't have time to get to it here, but go to clickorlando.com and check out the story about the 417 flex lanes that are coming up to help people get through when there's a problem. That's Catherine Silver. Also, we want to tell you about the hurricane special that is coming up on June 3rd. That's next Monday at 8 p.m. Be sure to record that or tune in. And we have so many special stories that our meteorologists have been working on. Our special is called Weathering the Storm. And that is an annual thing that we do every year with the first day of hurricane season and just helping you get prepared and just get your mindset on the things that you should keep in mind as we move into what could be a busy hurricane season. At least the statisticians and the forecasters are saying that it could be above average, but of course it only takes one storm. So you want to be prepared and go behind the scenes a little bit with our meteorologists too. So that'll be great. Also want to remind you that we are getting ready to hit the road again. So we're going to go live from Kissimmee very soon. And right now we're compiling stories about Kissimmee. We want to tell stories about the heroes there. We want to tell stories about the flavor there, as well as the issues. So let us know. make your voice heard about 34744 zip code. Go to clickorlando.com/hits the road. And we look forward to seeing you live in Kissimmee very soon with our evening newscast. And so that's going to do it here for us this morning on Breakfast. And we want to send it over to Weatherwise with Jonathan Keggis. And Trooper Steve will be on patrol at 8:32. I'll see you at noon on WKMG News at noon. And back here tomorrow at 7:30 for more Breakfast. Have a great day.